in our dealings amongst ourselves. It's very, very difficult, actually, because we have to discriminate what is favorable and what is unfavorable. Then we have to look at the limbs of surrender and how do we not criticize? How do we not make judgments? Because that is the biggest obstacle and biggest barrier to our progress in spiritual life. We will not progress if we are thinking like that. So, then thinking about, reflecting on something that Srila Shri Maharaj talked about in his lectures, is that anything connected in Krishna consciousness, anything you do is connected with the highest. And you should see the most menial service as the highest in order to protect yourself from any kind of pride or any kind of pratishta, which is the most dangerous thing in Krishna consciousness. And he's quoting Raghunath Das Goswami. Although he's considered to be the Acharya of Radha Dasam, his mood is that I don't want to even be considered to be in a position of friendship. I actually want to be considered the most menial servant, the lowest of the low. So that any understanding, when you take a sannyas, it's actually an extremely dangerous position. It's a dangerous position. Any position, actually, if you take position, if you feel you've got position, is dangerous for your progressive development. I find myself in a reflective mood in this sense that I'm frustrated that I can't do a menial service because of my injuries. And I see everybody doing how fortunate they are, how gloriously fortunate they are, able to do the most simple service. Maybe just cleaning or doing a garland or sweeping up outside or something. This is all wonderful to me. Now, I see that more and more. And I really enjoyed doing the services that I did before, and I can't do them, so that's kind of frustrating. But it's the fact that the inability to do them has made me realize how valuable they are, how wonderful it is, actually, any service. Even, see our sweet little devotee boy, Balaram, his grandmother buys him a spade because he's so keen to do service. It's so sweet, it's just unbelievable, He has this metal spade and he's digging, he's filling bags of earth and he's happy and he's getting his father here to work all the time with him and do this. That's the sweetness of Krishna consciousness. That's what should be in all of us, actually, that kind of innocence. And that's what service is. And when you consider that Mahaprabhu himself, we know that he cleaned the Gundicha temple for 3 days and asked his devotees to do it. And he cleaned every nook and cranny within all the carvings, and I've never been in there, but cleaning everything, all the dirt. And he used his uttari to pick up the dirt and to throw it out. Mahaprabhu is demonstrating, how we should conduct ourselves. We shouldn't consider ourselves high at all. We should be prepared to do the most. Even the person in the so-called higher position should be seen to be doing. Should be prepared and want to do the lowest service. What we consider in a mundane way to be the lowest, but actually it's very, very high. Another example is when, after he took sannyas, Mahaprabhu is, which cleaning the feet, the ground around the feet of the devotees, and ask them how he can serve them, So there's this mood that has to be cultivated, but not in an effective way. It must come naturally, You must really sincerely feel it. So I don't want to talk on too much because I know we're going to start at 12:45, and there's others who are going to speak, who would like to speak, and it's the festival of the installation of our deity, which is the most remarkable thing. The fact that we've come to this land, we can actually be in the presence of Mahaprabhu. And another aspect of that today is that in this area, not many people are taking prasad. There is one old lady in this pandemic who's getting the mercy of Mahaprabhu in this area. I've been there in the car with Lavanya there, and she's getting this prasad, and she thinks it's wonderful. It's just, have you seen her? No, I haven't seen her, but she's ecstatic about it. But you just think of the fortune. She's getting that fortune. It's so rare to get that even. And he's giving this mercy. And all the other people in the area, all the tens and tens of thousands of people that are living around Bedfont and the surrounding area are not getting this. Hello. So, with that, I'll give over to Vishakha to say a few words, and then Devidasi can follow, I guess, unless Devidasi is going to speak immediately.
Or maybe Devidasi.
Well, it's kind of come to me to be the MC, so, and our two illustrious Maharajas have already spoken something, and you should also speak something, and I can speak a little bit before the arati. We want to try and make it on time so that everything will run smoothly for this afternoon's Zoom broadcast. Which I've just been sort of trying to figure out with some technical things with Ramananda Prabhu. So, if you'd be so kind, Eddie, just to say something, you've come here to be with us.
Chincha samastagiri Shrirupa pantanugam Govinda vidamuchvalam bharatanam bhaktyam mitam sundaram Vande Vishwaguruncha divya bhagavat premna hibhijapadam Vanchakalpa trubhyascha kripa sindhubhyeva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namo mahavadanyaya Krishna prema pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gaurati Se Namaha. Well, we are here today to celebrate the appearance of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu here at the West London Mat. Actually, the Lord, the deity, he first descends in the heart of the Vaishnav. And it is that Lord that we are worshipping, actually. This deity which was known and dear to our Gurudev, and whom our Gurudev was also known to and beloved to. It is that deity, which was manifest in the heart of our Guru, which is now, by his grace, present here today, and by the connection of our Gurudev, we have this opportunity. And that we also have to mention that was by the grace Srila Bhakti Pavan Janardhan Maharaj, right? He managed to orchestrate what was somewhat of a tricky deal to pull off, we could say. He managed to do that, and we saw, we cannot pretend that we have the eyes to see the real form of the deity, or we have the consciousness to purely reciprocate with the deity, but we can all say that we saw the transformation that took place here in this temple, when Mahaprabhu came, and really we feel that he took charge of this temple, and it really brought together the community. It truly enlivened, enriched the atmosphere, and it gave more of a sense of purpose. Over the years, sometimes we think about opening preaching centers, and I've always felt, to have a deity, it's so much responsibility. I could never sign up for that. It's too much of a responsibility. Srila Gurudev, he told the devotees in San Jose to take care of Gaur Sundar there in the way that they would take care of their own son. So having a child, that's already a huge responsibility. Then having the Lord there, that is even much more. So I've always felt, I could never do that. But then and it was something I discussed with Tyagi Maharaj as well. But then seeing like the transformation that took place here, you realize what is the value of the Lord appearing so mercifully in this form, how meaningful, how significant it is, and how truly it brings together the devotees and gives a deeper sense of purpose to what we are doing here. And so we are, we all feel very, indebted to Mahaprabhu for coming here by the grace of our Gurudev and the Vaishnavas. And I was also, and bringing out, drawing out service inspiration from the hearts of the devotees, bringing that inspiration to a deeper level. And we can also mention that this type of celebration, or the purpose of this celebration, it's actually, I was reflecting on this today, it's actually something new. It was actually like a Western, I suppose it was something that evolved with ISKCON, that the anniversary of the deity would be celebrated. But our Gurudev, he was never like stuck on doing things as they've always been done. And so he actually incorporated this tradition from the West. And so you'll see like our sometimes people ask, like, why don't we have an anniversary date for our deities and Navadvip? Because that wasn't recorded. It wasn't a tradition to do that. The Lord is always eternally present. So it was something that started in the West, and then later, and Gurudev liked that idea, and so then he imported that tradition from the West, and he started doing that in some of the later temples that were established in India. And Gurudev also talked about the need to create reasons for devotees to celebrate and get together and give some deeper service energy. And he gave that instruction to Yudamanyu Prabhu in California at one time. You have to create reasons for the devotees to come to the temple. So now we see how this festival, of course, this year things are a little different because of the world circumstances. But otherwise, I think it's the 5th or 6th year? Sixth, huh? So we've seen over the last, I haven't been personally present at all of them, but we've seen how this has become the biggest celebration of the year here. How much joy and how much enthusiasm it generates within the community. And so, today is a little different. But still, there are a lot of people tuning in online. There will be a Zoom gathering later. So we're still feeling the power and the significance of this gathering. And I'm very happy that I could be here for this festival. I've been here a few days. I've been particularly inspired to see how some of the younger devotees are stepping forward. In particular, this gives us a lot of hope and encouragement for the future of the mission here. In particular, young Gadadhar Prabhu, he's just 15, but we see how he's taking on more and more responsibility for the puja. And also we have Ananga Manjari here. She's only 12. She looks like she's 20, but she's only 12. And she's as responsible, as an older lady, but she's actually only 12 years old. And we can be proud to have a young lady like this in our midst, and very conscious and very, attending all the programs with much focus and enthusiasm, engaging in so much service, asking questions. We also have young Balaram, who was mentioned, and others. So this gives us a lot of enthusiasm for the future of the mission. I was reflecting on it was another comment Gurudev made to Yudamanyu about in regards to his service in China. He told him at a certain point that, now if you leave China, it won't make so much difference. Because now that Krishna consciousness has entered China, it will not leave. Wow. Now it has entered, that current, it will continue. And so, so sometimes we approach things with a kind of material mentality, like, oh, who's going to do it? Who's going to be there? How's it going to go on? But you see, it actually has a life of its own. That current will move, it will continue. And the fortunate souls, they will come forward to connect with that current. It's a living process. It's beyond our control, beyond our understanding. So we feel very, very blessed to witness that and to consider, how the future is bright. The mercy of our guardians, it will continue. Jai Anjali Didi ki jai. I think that's all else I have to say. I'm sure we can hear from others, and we have a lot planned for later on.
Oma Gyana Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakuram Militam Dhyena Tasmai Sri Guruve Namaha Nama Shrestam Manamapi Sachiputram Atra Svarupam Rupam Tashagajam Urupurim Maturim Gostavatim Radha Kundam Giri Varam Maho Radhika Madhavasham Prapto Yasya Patita Kripaya Sri Gurum Tam Natoshmi Mukam Karoti Vatsalam Hangam Langayate Girim Jad Kripa Tamaham Mande Sri Gurum Dinataranam. So although this is actually the sixth anniversary of the opening of the West London Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Math and the arrival of Lord Gauranga Sundar to claim this building as his home, it is actually 10 years since this temple became part of the Chaitanya Saraswat Math. how much it has progressed during that time is quite extraordinary. We remember our Divine Master, Srila Bhakti Sundar Govinda Dev Goswami Maharaj, in our Green Street Temple, telling to the devotees, whether it is big or whether it is small, that is not the question. That it is 100% Srila Guru Maharaj, that is the important thing. And that is the responsibility of us all. That we try to make sure that our mission is 100% Srila Guru Maharaj. This was the very raison d'etre of Srila Govinda Maharaj's preaching. Over 20 times he traveled around the world just preaching the glories of Srila Guru Maharaj and establishing centers and so many things that he did for the glory of Guru Maharaj. And London was his last, you can say, his last accomplishment in the service of Guru Maharaj. Often he would say that I do not have, a big enough place for the devotees. So we have our little Green Street Temple. Is a place of pilgrimage to us all, because the lotus feet of Gurudev were so many times there. Whenever he would come out of India, he would go there, and he would say, I am in my Guru Maharaj's mott. But he always wanted that something a little bigger for the devotees, and something a little, you can say, commensurate with the dignity of Srila Guru Maharaj. And here it is. And miraculously, everyone knows that miraculously it came. Through the hard work of the devotees, no doubt. But it was finalized and papers signed and everything on the very day that Gurudev disappeared from the world. Now, this is quite an extraordinary thing. Like he's signing off the last thing that he wanted on his tick list to accomplish for Guru Maharaj. But it doesn't mean that, like that's signed off and done and, put away, because everything is a new beginning. And this ashram, this temple, this center, is a new beginning for the Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Math London chapter. Guru Maharaj was requested by Saraswati Thakur to come to London to preach. And we know Guru Maharaj humbly declined that, protesting that I do not understand their intonation, I can't mix very easily with people, and I don't know their customs and so on. If you insist, I will go, but I think you will be wasting your money. It would be better spent if you send a Prakrita Prabhu, who is, like a worldly wise man and also a very excellent Vaishnava. And Saraswati Thakur, on reflection, he sent a Prakrita Prabhu, giving him the title of Goswami before he came, which is usually reserved for the sannyasi section. A Prakrita Goswami came here, met with the Queen and King of England, met with the Archbishop of Canterbury, and did many wonderful things. Of course, not in the same league as Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj, but still, it is noteworthy, his attempt for preaching Krishna consciousness under the banner of the Gaudiya Math and Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. But Srila Govinda Maharaj also revealed to us another reason why Guru Maharaj didn't come to the West, because he knew, his inner feeling was, soon Saraswati Thakur will leave the world, and when he does, he'll want me to be there. So although Guru Maharaj didn't tell that, openly, Srila Govinda Maharaj revealed that was perhaps the inner reason why he didn't come. And often I think what would the world of Krishna consciousness look like if Guru Maharaj had come to preach in London? Anyway, that's, as they say, if hangs heavy in a poor man's pocket. So it's really, not worth speculating on. Prabhupada A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj came to the West, and Krishna consciousness exploded in the 1960s and 70s, and here we are, the recipients of that gracious gift, and able to stand in the London chapter of Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Math. So when we approached Guru Maharaj back in the 1980s with this humble request that we try to establish a centre in London in your name, his response was very encouraging. Yes, and he said, you may call it Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Math London chapter. It's significant because outside of Navadvip, in the time of Guru Maharaj, no other temple was called Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Math. Nowhere in the world, even nowhere in India, other than Navadvip. The Calcutta temple was Krishnanushilanam Sangha. And that was on the insistence of Srila Govinda Maharaj. Maharaj, this is your mott in London. And Guru Maharaj, in his letter to us, he said, if you can do this, I will consider it a great service to my Guru Maharaj. Because he wanted me to preach in London. But I could not go, but you can bring me there in this way. So this was our idea and our ideal also. And so, that hasn't changed. That hasn't changed. That preaching of Srila Sridhar Maharaj, the founder Acharya of Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Math, is what makes Chaitanya Saraswat Math unique amongst all of the missions of the followers of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. It is not just, as some would say, oh, they're Gaudiya Math. We are Chaitanya Saraswat Math. And what defines Chaitanya Saraswat Math and distinguishes it from all other branches of Gaudiya Math is the preeminent teachings of Srila Bhakti Rakak Sridhar Dev Goswami Maharaj, who all unanimously, the followers of Saraswati Thakur, even those senior to Guru Maharaj, accepted after Saraswati Thakur's disappearance that here is the voice of Prabhupada Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. Here is the Rupanuga Dara, Srila Bhakti Rakak Sridhar Dev Goswami Maharaj. And so that's not an easy task, to maintain that line of Bhakti Rakak Sridhar Maharaj. Once in his room in Green Street, Srila Gurudev said to me, whoever will stay in the line of Guru Maharaj, they must get the service of Rupa Manjari. And he kind of looked at me, what do you think about that? I said, wow, Maharaj, I understand that that's something huge and wonderful, but I can't pretend that I really know what that is or, have any idea about that. But what came to my mind was that, first of all, that's an extraordinary statement to make, absolutely extraordinary, and merciful. And Gurudev was so merciful. He would say, I don't want anybody to leave. I want everybody to stay, everybody to be accommodated in the line of Guru Maharaj. And his preaching was like that, so accommodating to everybody. And that's one aspect of it. But the other aspect of it is, okay, but what does it mean to be in the line of Bhakti Rakak Sridhar Maharaj? This is not just about, like physically being there or showing up. Although sometimes it is. By the mercy of Gurudev, sometimes that was all that was required, that you just show up and receive his grace, receive his mercy. But really it means, it's a very rare thing to be able to say that we are in the line of Bhakti Rakak Sridhar Maharaj. It's something that we can aspire to. But to actually say we're we're very short. We fall very short, at least I can say for myself, fall very short of that. But, my reflection over the last few years particularly has been that, what was given, what was shown to the world in a closed group of a select few in the time of the advent of Lord Krishna, that has been broken. And the walls around that have been broken. And in a flood, Mahaprabhu is distributing that far and wide, in Guru Maharaj's language, distributing nectar as if it was water to everybody. You just need to turn up, and there you are. You can have it if you want it. And this is my reflection, that although we may be very poor and we may be very unqualified, we may be whatever we may be, but He is supremely kind. Our Lord is so kind. He, that Odarja Leela, it isn't just a front, it's actually His very nature is that He wants to give that highest thing to the lowest. And not just the lowest, middle, highest, everyone. He wants to give it to everyone. No man left behind, as the American Marines say. This is Mahaprabhu's motto, you can say. No one to be left behind. He wants to give that to everyone. And really all we need to do is turn up and say, yes, I want it. With some sincerity. I want it. And even if you don't want it, there's Nityananda Prabhu waiting to make sure that you have it, want it or not. So, really, it's all about, it's a grant of grace. And Guru Maharaj, Gurudev, they're all about that, granting of grace to us. Especially Gurudev. Guru Maharaj was very conservative Vaishnava, we know. And many times, when dealing with his Western followers, he was disappointed with us, and sometimes angry with us, and sometimes dismissive of us also. But always there, Gurudev telling, no Maharaj, don't do that. Don't withdraw your connection from them, please. And that's our fortune, our incredible fortune, that Gurudev was there, right from the very beginning. Even when Guru Maharaj, I'm not feeling well today, I don't want to speak to Gurudev. Just 5 minutes, Maharaj. They've come from so far, just 5 minutes, speak something to them. And okay, just 5 minutes. 2 hours later, Guru Maharaj is in a full throw, of that it's flowing from him there. And sometimes he would say, this is like massage to me. He would say that, And this is Gurudev. Just 5 minutes. He had this way of being able to draw that mercy out, So now we continue trying to serve. Trying to serve the mission of Srila Guru Maharaj in separation. But we are blessed. And this London chapter, Sri Chaitanya Saraswati Math, going on under the direction and auspices of Srila Bhakti Nirmala Acharya Maharaj. Very mercifully, he is continuing this line and helping us all to come up to the mark. He's always telling everyone, this is the main thing, how you will serve your Gurudev. And we are grateful for that. And so many Vaishnavas, Guru Maharaj he would say, I'm a back-pushing man. I like to push others to the front. But who had connection with Guru Maharaj? That is not an inconsequential thing. No one who came in touch with Guru Maharaj went away less than when they came. They went away infinitely more than when they came. Because this was Guru Maharaj's nature. He could give what Mahaprabhu came to give. He could give that, and gave that to us. Then that's continuing. That line of grace, that line of mercy is continuing. And Guru Maharaj's followers, his disciples, his grand disciples, great-grand disciples, they're still carrying this mission to the world. And it is, with a unique flavor. Chaitanya Saraswat Math is with a unique flavor. And that flavor is particularly the family feeling that we got through Srila Govinda Maharaj. And so much that he wanted that everyone will be accommodated, that everyone will stay, that everyone will embrace this as the most important thing in their life. We know, we are so busy in this material world. The first time when I went to Vrindavan was with Srila Gurudev. In the time of Guru Maharaj, I never went to Vrindavan. If I would go to India, I was thinking, what will I see in Vrindavan when Guru Maharaj is in Navadvip? What will I go? As Guru Maharaj would say, oh, eye exercise. You've gone for eye exercise. So whenever, in the time of Guru Maharaj, all of us, I think, we felt we must get the optimum time with him that we can. And Vrindavan's for another day. And so the very first time that I went to Vrindavan was with Srila Gurudev. And it was a wonderful thing. It was really wonderful. And you were there, I think, Sachi. We went on the Tufan Express. You were there. And Krishna Bandhu, Leela Sundar, they were there. We went the Tufan, which means like a whirlwind, but it's like the slowest train that you've ever gone on in your life. And we're all waiting. 4:00 in the morning, we're waiting in the Navadvip train station, and sitting around Gurudev. It was like a picture from, apart from the railway station. It was like a picture. The Guru surrounded by his disciples. It was beautiful. Before, in the pre-dawn, and Gurudev said to us, "Up until an hour ago, I didn't think I was coming with you." And he said, "All week I've been praying to Radharani to give me permission to go to Vrindavan, but she is not giving her permission. And this morning, before I came here, Lalita Devi gave her permission to me." And we went on and he came on the train with us. Yeah. And I think that was the only time that he came by train. From then, after that, he flew. Because, that airline, that it was a new airline at that time, Jet Airways it was called. And although it does international flights now, originally it only did internal flights in India. But they I don't know how it happened, but somehow they gave Gurudev free passage on their flights every time. Whenever he wanted to go to Vrindavan, he could just get on a plane in Calcutta to Delhi, no charge. Him and his, little entourage. They didn't charge. How wonderful is that? Huh? But this was the first time that, Gurudev wanted to re-establish Vrindavan Parikrama and the Parikrama of Govardhan again, because it had stopped for so many years. In the time of Guru Maharaj, it went on, but it had stopped. And you were also there, Maharaj, weren't you? I remember. We stayed at a Dharmshala because we didn't have any center there at that time. It was called Tulsi Bhavan in this Dharmshala, you remember? And I remember getting Gurudev's permission to go and visit the Vrindavan ISKCON Krishna Balaram Mandir. We went there, and they gave us this big piece of gatto, like Black Forest gatto. And I was thinking, this is the only place in Vrindavan where you're going to get Black Forest gatto, is at the ISKCON Mandir, Of course, it was carob, because they don't do chocolate, but carob. And we came back in the evening with these, put it down. I remember waking up in the night, and it was covered with mice. They were devouring my cake. Anyway, That was my first time that I went. And I remember, when I was leaving, I couldn't stay for the whole thing, but I was leaving. And with my wife, Gurudev said to us, was asking something about like our home in London, what we did, what we do, all these things, And I said, my wife, she also works, and I was kind of feeling a little bit ashamed. That's not the Vedic standard, wife works, husband. And Gurudev said, yeah, even here, that's how it is now. That's the world we live in now, Then anyway, the point I was making was that he realized what our lives are. He wasn't blind to that, He wasn't unconscious to that. No one could say of him that he would say, I don't understand their customs, I don't understand the things that Guru Maharaj had said. Gurudev knew all of those things about the world. And he could navigate that world very easily, where Guru Maharaj was very much like aloof from the world, you can say, He didn't want to take part in it. Not that Gurudev wanted to take part in it, but he could, and he knew, everything that we faced. And in this way, that made him very accessible to everybody. That he was very sympathetic to our cause, if you like, or to our malady that we found ourselves in. Trying to juggle our lives with the material world, and in that way, but trying to remain Krishna conscious at the same time. It's not an easy path. It's much easier to just surrender and live in the temple and serve in the temple, in one sense. But when you're overwhelmed by material desires, as we often are when we're young, then you have to make some compromise with Maya. And when you get old, then you realize it really wasn't worth it. All that time for our so-called independence. But Gurudev wanted that we would stay in Krishna consciousness and stay in the family of Sri Chaitanya Saraswati Math. And for that reason, he encouraged us to establish centers. And in all of those centers, it was always about make provision for the devotees first, then bring the deity. And more or less, as Vishakha Didi was saying, that's what happened here. But Gurudev had told me previously, when the new center comes, because he knew it would come, when the new center comes, this Mahaprabhu must go there. He must come there. But I did not have the strength to convince anybody of that. Because Gurudev said many things to many people, and many different things to many people. But luckily, Srila Janardhan Maharaj was convinced about that, and he was able to encourage the devotees. What's the point of having any center if Mahaprabhu is not going to come there? Why bother? And really, he encouraged everyone. I was going in my car, and I got the call from him. They've agreed, he told me. They've agreed. Bring Mahaprabhu. And so we did. It wasn't even the plan in opening the center to bring Mahaprabhu. But Janardhan Maharaj rang me, told me, yes, everyone there has agreed. Bring him. And then so we bought him. We bought him the night before the opening in my car. And we bought him here, myself and Trivikram Maharaj. And there he went. And the next morning, there he was, resplendent. And this is his home. And this is, the place of his worship. Gurudev, somehow mystically he came to London. Why are there two Mahaprabhus in Green Street? There must be a reason, right, that he came there. And then he came here, because he was meant to come here. This is like Gurudev's vision for so long. So here we are today, celebrating this, like 6th anniversary of his appearance here, and that service will go on. But the main thing that we are his mouthpiece, that we will preach his conception as we heard it from Srila Guru Maharaj. And this is the purpose of this center. It's not just a little, club for us to come and be with our pals. No, it's for preaching Guru Maharaj's conception to the world, sharing that with the world. That's what it must be. And as Vishakha Didi is saying, Gurudev was like, make some reason why the devotees should come there. Oh, okay. So we've just had I'm just getting something in my earpiece here, that the things are running a little late, and Arti will now be at 1:20. Okay, so I was just about to finish it up. Actually, I will finish there, because there are many other Vaishnavas here who may like to say something. So I'm so happy that I could come here, even in the midst of this, so-called worldwide pandemic and everything. I didn't know, will we be able to come? Will it be possible? Will the law allow it? They're always threatening, maybe there'll be another lockdown, but, make hay while the sun shines. So we have the opportunity to come here. I was just reflecting to Ishanuga on the way here. This is the longest journey I've done since March. I've not traveled this far since March, unbelievable. And that journey is to come into the company of the Vaishnavas and the Mahaprabhu's gracious glance. What could be better than that? What better utilization of our time and our energy than to do that? So that we've come here to try and, in our humble way, in our faulty way, but hopefully in our sincere way, to try and serve Hari, Guru and Vaishnava, to try to make happy our Guru Varga. That's what we need to do. That's all we need to do, actually. It's all about affection. It's nothing about, external physical purity, or how many rounds you can chant, or how many obeisances you can do, or it's not anything about that. It's about how we can try to secure the affection of the Vaishnavas. If the Vaishnavas are affectionate to us, merciful to us, then they'll want to keep us in their company, we hope. And if we're able to stay in the company of the Vaishnavas, then everything's okay. Everything's fine. Because they also won't leave us behind. That's our real prayer, is that, we may be wayward, we may be distracted, we may be unqualified and sinful, but the Vaishnavas won't leave us behind. They've accepted us into their family, and no family member will be abused or neglected. This is our hope. And when we're not dealing with an impersonal absolute. We're dealing with a personal absolute. In other words, we're dealing with a person, the supreme person. And that supreme person is kindness personified, ecstasy personified, sympathy personified, all of these wonderful things. He is that. He's the personification of that. And not only is he that, but he wants to give that to others also, in the form of Mahaprabhu Chaitanya Dev. He's come to distribute that to everybody. So all we need to do is get in the queue and stand up and say, yes, please, I want it. And you'll get it. If you're a little sincere, that's what Guru Maharaj said. You only need to be sincere. And somebody said, so how do you be sincere? They asked Guru Maharaj. Maybe I don't know what they thought Guru Maharaj's answer was going to be, but his answer was very simply, just by being sincere. Either you are or you're not. But he did, give a little caveat to that also, is that sincerity is one of the characteristics of the soul. So it's not that even if you feel you're insincere, it's that sincerity is there within you. buried somewhere. You've just got to draw it out. And the best way to draw it out is by associating with those who are sincere. Their sincerity will rub off on you. We see that. We see that, what have we learned, if nothing else, from this pandemic, is that it comes to you whether you want it or not if you enter into that environment where it's living. So, Krishna Bhakti is kind of like that. Whether you want it or not, if you enter into the environment where it's living, where it's alive, you'll become infected with it. For sure. We might even have quite high resistance to it. But sooner or later, it'll get through. Sooner or later, it'll get through. Because, like these viruses, they transmute and they change and they adapt to get in somehow. And that's what Krishna consciousness means. It transmutes, it adapts, it finds a way in. As Guru Maharaj said, Krishna is a thief. And a thief doesn't require any invitation. So, like Vishakha Didi was saying how, Gurudev, he introduced things that happened, that we started in the West or that we began here, traditions that, maybe weren't from there originally, didn't happen in India. But Krishna consciousness is all about that, actually. The Krishna consciousness movement. In reality, this Krishna consciousness movement as we know it started with Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. Before him, there wasn't any, institution of Krishna consciousness. Bhaktivinoda Thakur kind of conceived of that, but Saraswati Thakur actually made it happen. And we know also that was, even that, when we see how the temple is, how the things are arranged, all of these things, and we think that's how it's always been. But it's not true, actually. These things are only just over 100 years old. Like we have the Parampara pictures on the altar. That was introduced by Saraswati Thakur. When you go to the Goswami temples in Vrindavan, you don't see that. Now you see it. They have their own Guru Bharga from their Goswami their Goswami lineage and so on. But that's copying from us, or from ISKCON, or from Gaudiya Math. It was introduced there. So, it's not like all these things are fixed things. Like 5,000 years ago, you went in the temple and there was the pictures of their chart. No, it wasn't like that. And we see also that when Saraswati Thakur began his preaching, if you remember, he was the only sannyasi. And he'd given sannyas, basically he'd given the sannyas order to himself. And in Vrindavan, in the Gaudiya Vaishnavism, there wasn't sannyas before Saraswati Thakur. It wasn't there. Even in the time of Mahaprabhu, the sannyas was Ekadanda sannyas. In Ramanuja Sampradaya it was there, but not in the line of Mahaprabhu. And Saraswati Thakur reintroduced that and got much opposition for that. But we also see, right, maybe you're not aware, but those who weren't sannyasis, his preachers, they were all dressed like Catholic priests, in black robes with a little hat and everything. That was who accompanied Saraswati Thakur to Vrindavan. They were dressed like Christian priests. And all the temples closed their doors. They wouldn't let them in. Every temple, apart from the Radha Raman Mandir, closed their doors to Saraswati Thakur. But the Goswami, was it Vishwambar Goswami then? I can't remember. But anyway, the Mahant of Radha Raman, he recognized Saraswati Thakur as a Shuddha Bhakta and invited him in. And gradually, the influence of Saraswati Thakur spread all over Vrindavan, and now is common in Vrindavan. Every temple is more or less modeled on Saraswati Thakur's conception. or modified to be like that now. Now, this is extraordinary thing. And what the future will hold, how Krishna consciousness will be presented in the future, we don't know. I remember watching, the science fiction film Blade Runner. When I saw that, right, it's set in like a dystopian future, San Francisco, like 400 years in the future or something. But amidst that, there they are, chanting Hare Krishna through the streets. Still there. The Ridley Scott thought they're still going to be around. And there they are. And we know that that's going to be true. I mean, maybe not quite that true in that way, that he envisioned it. But you can bet your life that the devotees of Lord Krishna will be there doing Sankirtan and preaching Mahaprabhu's glories. However weird and wonderful the future may be, we don't know. But here we are today in 2020, which is the weirdest year that we've ever had in our whole lifetime, anyone. And still we're coming together to preach and to join in glorification of Mahaprabhu. And that won't stop. Even if the government says you have to stop, we can't stop. Actually, we can't. That's not possible, It's
also our solace to have it.
Yeah.
We don't have to live in that world.
Yeah.
Go to the temple and accept it.
I'm not saying that we should break the law or anything like that, but if push comes to shove, we have to practice our religion. And our religion is Sankirtan. We must come together, join together to glorify the Lord. And whatever the external circumstances may be, we shouldn't be too concerned with that. Because, Krishna is in control of everything, isn't he? That's our faith, right? That's our faith. That not even a blade of grass moves without Krishna's consent. Then why should we be afraid? Even if we contract COVID-19 and die from it, it's Krishna's will. That's okay too. That's all right. We shouldn't be afraid. If it comes to us, that's because Krishna wants it to come to us. Then if he wants it to come to us, it must be good. Otherwise it wouldn't happen. It wouldn't happen.
That you can realize that if you have very strong faith.
Yes.
Otherwise, a lot of...
No, because the thing is, in this material world, everybody's afraid and they make all their decisions based on fear. But when you take shelter of the Lord, who is Abhaya, who is fearless, and you become fearless. You become fearless. Doesn't mean you should be foolhardy. But still, we can still be reasonable and try, make ourselves as safe as possible. But not at the expense of that, we have to leave Krishna consciousness. Never. Krishna consciousness is everything to us. Whatever the external situation. Death is inevitable for everybody. Then, how that will come to you, you don't know. But, of course, we don't want to suffer. Nobody wants to suffer in this material world. We don't want to see those we love suffer also. But we should take all reasonable precautions to avoid that. But if it comes to you, then you must accept it is Krishna's will. And if death comes to you, that's also Krishna's will. But death is nothing. It's just crossing to another state of being. And those who have faith in Krishna, they must go to a better place. In Brihad Bhagavatamritam, Sanatana Goswami Prabhu, he says that when those who take the name of Krishna, when they die, he says, even those who jokingly take Krishna's name, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishnas, even that, said that when they die, that the parshadas of Lord Krishna come to them to raise them to a higher place. That's even like the casual chanter of Hare Krishna. What to speak of those who like dedicatedly try to give their life to Krishna? To whatever degree we're able to do that, then then our future must be great, must be wonderful. Because the Lord didn't make us just to suffer in this material world. He made us to live a life of ecstasy with Him. That's why He created us, just for that. So then why are we suffering here in this material world? Saraswati Thakur's reply to that is, just to remind you that this isn't your home. When I was in the Ukraine, one girl asked me, why doesn't He just make everything perfect? Like stop all the inequality, cure all the diseases, doesn't He want that, Krishna? And I said, no, if He wanted that, He would have done it already, wouldn't He? That's why He doesn't do that. So that we don't think, oh, this is quite nice here, I think I'll stick around. Saraswati Thakur's remark was, the material world's like the latrine. You should just go in, do your business, and get out as quickly as possible. Don't make it your home. So that's why you'll never find like a perfect situation here in this material world. So it's actually foolish to endeavor for that, to try and make your situation perfect. By changing your environment, everything will become perfect in your life. No. Because even if you change your environment, there you are still. You're still there, aren't you? Same person. You haven't changed. You're still the same. Just in a different place or in a different circumstance. But you're still there, just the same. So, you can't change the world, but you can change yourself. And that's what Krishna consciousness is all about. Change yourself. Try and be, I'm preaching to the choir here, I know. So, but just try and be what our Gurudev would want us to be. That's my prayer when I never know what to say when I bow down before the deity, because it says in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, shouldn't pay your obeisances before the deity silently. Shouldn't do that, it's an offense. So then what do we say? We say some mantra or something. My prayer always is, dear Lord, please make me who you want me to be. Not who I want to be, not like, don't make all my desires and plans come true, because that's a disaster waiting to happen, I know. No, make me who you want me to be. I want to be your devotee. I want to be the devotee of your devotee. Then please make me be that. We are not Hanuman. We can't do, that they used to say Herculean tasks, but I say Hanumanian tasks. We can't do that, but we can maybe do, like little spider things with the same kind of devotion as Hanuman. Maybe. One thing that, Mother Teresa of Calcutta, she used to say, maybe we can't do great things, but maybe we can do many small things with great love. So, that's what Krishna consciousness is about. Trying to do what we do, but do it with love. And love for who? Love for Krishna. Love for the Vaishnava. Not, like love for everyone. That's just like a kind of hippie concept, isn't it? We love everyone. If you love Krishna and you love Krishna's devotees, then you can give love to everyone. Srila Prabhupada would say, otherwise, what's the point of just jumping like monkeys? You have to know what life is for and what the proper utilization of your life is. You'll say, philosophers and theologians, they've debated this since time immemorial. What's the purpose of... Nobody knows. No, that's not true. We do know. The purpose of life is to serve Krishna, to please Krishna, to give yourself to Lord Krishna. And how do you do that? By serving Krishna's devotee. by associating with the devotees of Krishna, by chanting Krishna's holy name, by hearing the pastimes of Lord Krishna from a realized soul, and honoring Krishna's remnants. All of these things will give you Krishna consciousness. All of these things will make your life perfect. All of those things. We're not just zombies, that every morning we get up and we sing the same songs in the morning, like drones, No. How is that possible? Who could do that? The deprogrammers in the 1970s and 60s, they used to say, oh, you just brainwashed yourself by... You could just chant Coca-Cola, 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 and it would have the same effect. Well, give it a try. See how long you can do that before you go completely mad. Even if there's a pop song or something that you love, listen to it enough on repeat, you'll hate it. You'll hate it. But then how is it that the devotees can chant the same songs, chant the same mantra, read the same books, everything, again and again and again? And they don't feel tired, they feel alive. Gurudev used to say, from my childhood I read Bhagavad Gita, I love Bhagavad Gita. Even in my last days, I get new light when I read Bhagavad Gita. Is that, the ever-expanding, revealing science of God. This is Krishna consciousness. God is unlimited. Then everything about him is unlimited. Even the song that you sing every single morning is unlimited in its meaning and its penetration of your heart. And that's the reason why our Gurudev has established these centers all over the world. That's the reason why this Chaitanya Saraswat Math West London chapter is existing. Just for that. Just so that every morning we can sing the same songs and read the same books and discuss the same subject matter. And we love that. We don't care. Guru Maharaj would say, even if it's just a fantasy, unless you've got something better to offer, we'll just stick with that, thanks very much. We'd rather our fantasy than your reality. But we know the saints and the scriptures have proven that it's not fantasy, it is real. Srila Govinda Maharaj would say, if it were just a cheating matter, I would have left it a long time ago. But it isn't. It's real. It's the highest thing. And once we understand that, and once we realize that actually our life is only meant for that, then everything takes on a new light. Everything becomes tolerable. Even the intolerable circumstances we sometimes find ourselves in this material world, somehow it becomes tolerable because there's always this light at the end of the tunnel. There at the end of the tunnel, it's not just like a impersonal white light beckoning at us. At the end of the tunnel, we can hear there's Krishna Kirtan going on there. We can see there's the Vaishnavas waiting to embrace us there at the end of that tunnel. We can see there's Mahaprabhu engaged in Sankirtan. There's the eternal service of Radha Govinda. That's the light at the end of the tunnel. And that's what keeps us going and keeps us enthusiastic about Krishna consciousness. And whatever anyone else may say, is it Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya? He says, let the censorious people of the world say whatever they like about us. They can insult us, they can deprecate what we are doing, call us crazy, call us mad. We don't care. We'll just carry on drinking the wine of Harikatha and dancing like fools while they go on with their world. We don't care for that. Just carry on in Krishna consciousness. Then there's nothing else to do. There's nothing else worth attempting in this material world. Whatever you think is your ambition, your dream for this material, forget it. It's not happening. One of our devotees who was leaving the temple once, he said, I've got to follow my dreams, Prabhu. I've got to follow. I said, no, you don't, because they're just dreams. That means by nature that they're just fantasy. This is the whole problem, that we're just always chasing after fantasy, wild goose chasing in this material world. This is Guru Maharaj's expression. Wild goose chasing, running after this, running after that. And even if you achieve all of your so-called goals in this material world, Mr. Death's coming along to take it all away from you at any moment. Then you've got to start all over again. You can't even remember what you did. Prabhupada used to tell a story of this man who, he had a business. He lived in a village and he had this business, and when he died, he was reborn in his same village. And as he grew up, he remembered, these were my sons, this was my shop, this was everything. And he said, and he went there to tell them, and they beat him with shoes. So what's the point, What's the point? How hard he must have worked to establish his little empire. And then in his next life, the very people that he did all that for, they beat him with their shoes. That's what you can expect in this material world. You won't get anything ultimately. You won't get anything of any benefit ultimately. So do your business and get out as quickly as possible. That's very sound advice. Nothing you can rely on here. Nothing that you should aspire for here. Just do what you have to do and get out. This is Mahaprabhu's message. But more than that, not just get out. Come to the plane of love. Come to the plane of beauty. Come to the plane of ecstasy. That's waiting for you. That's your birthright. That's what's waiting for you. That's what's your inheritance. Just come and claim it. Why wander around the streets like a beggar, drinking people's leftovers and, foraging in the dustbin for something to eat? Basically that's all we do here in this material world. Trying to find some scrap of pleasure in something which others have already chewed on and spat out. You're not going to get anything. You're not going to discover anything new. You're not going to be able to try something that no one's ever tried before. Even if you find that, it's just something that they've forgotten about. Believe me, there's no phenomena in this material world that we haven't tried 1 billion times. Then what should we do? I was listening recently, Prabhupada speaking, and very, very, in a very heartfelt way, he said, so many lifetimes you've tried to satisfy yourself. And how has it worked out, basically? Has that worked out good for you? No. But now you've come and you've heard about Krishna. Just try and give this one life for Krishna. Just try and give that one life. How many lives have you had in the past? How many lives will you have in the future? But now you've got this and you have some idea about Krishna and Krishna's service, then try and give your life for Krishna. Try it. And the way that he said it was so, it pulled your heart. It made me think, maybe I should try it. Maybe I should. But we can always find reasons why not to, can't we? But still, in spite of that, let's just give it a try. Let's try. And no doubt we'll mess it up. No doubt we'll make mistakes. No doubt we'll be wanting in our attempt. No doubt we'll probably offend everybody on the way. What can we do? We just have to carry on. Try and satisfy Krishna. Try and satisfy the Vaishnavas. And Krishna doesn't ask for much, does he? Patram pushpam phalam jalam. Just offer me a leaf, a flower, some fruit or water. I'll accept it. He doesn't say, give me your weight in gold, or, offer me precious diamonds, or, doesn't say anything about that. Just a fruit, a flower, leaf, or water. Who can't do that? I will accept it. What else can we do? That's what we have, isn't it? And that's actually what all that Krishna wants. In fact, he doesn't even want those things. He just wants the heart with which we can offer those things to him. But he's given us something to say, okay, these things we can offer to Krishna. And we try and do that with our full heart. Then, who can know what the result will be? But it'll be something wonderful. You'll find yourself, Guru Maharaj says, suddenly you'll find yourself awake in a new environment. This is the way to change your environment for the better. Because you may be in the same physical location, but suddenly you're in a higher environment, in a higher plane of consciousness. That's what Krishna consciousness affords us. Come to the higher plane. And in that higher plane, everything is grace, everything is mercy, everything is beauty. It exists there. Not only it exists, it is happily available to everybody. So once we were listening to Guru Maharaj, and he said, and after telling so many wonderful things, that this is our home, that we're looking for our home. And finally everyone, after Guru Maharaj had finished, and Guru Maharaj said, any question? And one lady sitting in the back, she put up her hand, Guru Maharaj, yes. Can we all go there? And Guru Maharaj said, yes, we can all go there. How wonderful is that, huh? Nobody forced, but nobody barred. This is for everybody. And this is the meaning of this festival today, to celebrate that. To celebrate this wonderful opportunity that we've been afforded. This place is the forum for that. This place is to facilitate that, and this place is to share that with the whole world. So it is not just an old schoolhouse or whatever it may have been previously. It is Chintamani. It is the holy Dham manifest in this world. And if we can remember that and see that, whatever, obstacles we may find to serving here, they must disappear. It is that. It is Krishna's divine abode, Mahaprabhu's own place. Then why we should find any difficulty to come and give ourselves for the service of Mahaprabhu? He sees everything. He knows everything. He knows your heart. Then just try and offer yourself to him. He won't refuse. So now we're ready for Arti. Jai Sisi Guru Gauranga Sundar Radha Giridhari Jiu Ki Jai. Jai Srila Bhakti Nirmala Acharya Maharaj Ki Jai. Srila Bhakti Sundar Govinda Dev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Srila Bhakti Rakak Shrida Dev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Bhagavan Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Ki Jai. Rupanuga Guru Bhagya Ki Jai. Sri Chaitanya Saraswati Acharya Brinda Ki Jai. Vaishnava Brinda Ki Jai. Seva Brinda Ki Jai. Harinama Sankirtan Ki Jai. Nitai Gaura Premanande. Hari Hari.
sing.